So now we're dealing with the second filler, which is sort of a really fine, easy sanding car body filler. And the difference to the sort of spackle water-based one is that this has an incredible amount of solvent in it, and you will know as soon as you open it that it just stinks the whole room out. So I really would recommend that this isn't good enough for when you're working with it. This is only good enough for when you're sanding it for particles. So you'll need something like this, which will stop both organic and inorganic. And again, I'll list this at the end, but it's a 3M ABEK1 filter, which is basically an all-purpose. So really good idea to wear that. I obviously will in a matter of minutes. And then since we looked at this last one, basically the benefit of this is that not only is it a tougher finish, because obviously it's used for car bodywork as opposed to decoration, it also means we can fill this area, which is sort of plastic and glue gun, and build out that surface so it's at the proper radius, and also on this face as well. So you can see I've also removed some of the white tack or blue tack and freed up the buttons, because I'm going to try and cut in here as neatly as possible. One of the interesting things you'll find is that once you've left it for, say, maybe about I don't know, 2 minutes or something, depending on the temperature of your room, you'll find that it's hard enough that you can't move it anymore, but it's still soft enough that you can cut it with a scalpel. So this is the perfect opportunity to cut around these sorts of areas with a scalpel. And of course, if you've got lots of sort of rough contours, you can actually trim them off, which just saves time on sanding and also means you put less dust into the air. So I'd really recommend doing that. So again, we've got golf ball and pea sized quantities, which is a good way to remember them. And then I've kind of cut one of these tongue depressors into a sort of straight edge, which just makes it a little bit easier for me, just my preference. And so what you sort of almost trying to do is sort of crush it into the pad. And this is basically, if you have a casting operation available to you, there's always excess silicone made from mold making. And so what that means is that if you pour it into a lid, then it sets and gives you this really nice disc, which you'll see at the end. When this dries, you can just crack it off and reuse it. So I think that colour consistency is pretty good now. And as you can see, I'm wearing gloves because this is considerably more aggressive stuff. And you can see that I'm just able to fill it. And again, the nice thing about using tongue depressors as opposed to your fingers is that you can see that it helps you contour as you work. And so I'm sort of stretching it over the surface as much as possible. And so the areas where it's just not thinning out, I'm quite happy to leave that thick. And again, giving things a bit of overhang is absolutely fine as well. So again, you might find that you have to dig certain things out again once you've finished, like sort of battery case lids and stuff like that. So just, again, use the scalpel, as I mentioned earlier, to do those sorts of jobs when you're in that situation. So for now, I'm obviously going to go on and put my my mask on. So I'm just going to do a rough covering just to give you an example. But as you can see, I'm trying to sort of take an impression of the shape as I'm working. So I'm trying to begin from offside and sweep round. Not forgetting the base as well. And so what you'll feel is that even as I'm working with this now, it's beginning to take a little bit of a set, which is fine. But it's a good idea not to sort of push it, which is why it's good to work in these little golf ball sort of quantities, because rather than have a massive piece here, it's quite alright to just build it up gradually. That's absolutely fine. So there we go. And again, please wear a mask and use a well ventilated area, as, to be quite honest, I'm probably going to stop soon, as this is making my eyes water. It's really quite uncomfortable stuff. So there we go. I'll leave that for now, and I'll see you soon.